All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:30. Reading of the district's promise statement. Oh, of course, now I can't see. We promise to provide a supportive environment where unique learning experiences empower all for their chosen life adventure. Are there any additional items for the agenda? Just one note, we did pull out on a normal consent agenda an item for new business, and that's the approval of Jesse Elke as head speech coach. So Tim can abstain for that one, so. All right, if there are no additional items, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as set.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
That's Tim Johnson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Recognition of visitors and open forum. We don't have anybody signed up to speak, but we have the FFA program here, so welcome to all of you. We'll move on to number 6, reports and presentations, student representatives report. So, Zach.
Hi. So we just had homecoming, and then student council did put together a Veterans Day program, which was nice for the school and the community. And then we're planning Tours for Tots coming December, so that will be another thing where we can get the community and the school together.
Nice. Any questions for Zach?
When's snow week?
We haven't decided when that is yet, but probably February, one of the first weeks.
Okay. Any other questions?
Have you heard yet if the holiday train is coming to town
Oh,
this year or
yeah.
not?
I have not heard anything about that.
Okay.
I did hear that they are going up the river, so
it's
I don't
not
know
this-
that they're gonna come here then.
It sounded like they were going all north.
Okay.
So, I'm guessing they're not coming here. Hopefully next year then. All right, anything else? All right, thanks, Zach, and as always, if you want to join in on anything, feel free to speak up. 6B, the FFA presentation and national convention. So, do they have a microphone? Oh, right there.
Alright, so I am Sam Carlson. I am the FFA treasurer for JWP of Pemberton, and we put together a little slideshow, so whenever we're ready, we'll go to the next slide. So our 2022-2023 agenda, we have a fall fun day. We had a fall fun day. We went to a apple orchard next to Faribault. That was a lot of fun. We also went to the candy store because who doesn't love candy? We had a lot of fun there. We went to nationals. That was in Indianapolis. We are planning on going to state convention for some state degrees and hopefully some participants up at the state level. We are planning a spring trip to the Minnesota Zoo. We are having upcoming contests such as Fish and Wildlife Service and Ag Sales. And we have plenty of fun meetings planned throughout the year. So our FFA Fall Fun Day, we traveled to the apple orchard in Faribault and the world's largest candy store. So this is our slide about the National FFA Convention. I did not go this year, but I did go last year, and it was a ton of fun. So I will hand the mic off to some of the girls that went this year.
I'm Kylie Hanks. I attended the National Convention, which was held October 25th through the 29th.
I'm Addie, and I also went. It was a lot of fun. When we were there, we learned a lot about the Indianapolis Speedway, and we learned a lot about, we went to Ozark Fisheries, and we learned about how goldfish go into our pet stores.
At the actual convention itself held in Indianapolis, it was basically like a career and college fair all about agriculture. So there was a bunch of different careers that you had the opportunity to talk to and learn about branches that you can go into the agriculture. And then as well as that, there was a lot of colleges there from all around every 50 state that you could talk to.
Most of the days we just spent a lot of time at the convention. All of us kind of just talked to all the different colleges. They all were like mostly agriculture focused colleges, but there was a lot of them that offered other degrees that we could talk about, and they were super informative for us.
We also went to Fair Oaks Farm, and that was where we got to see how the dairy farm operations work, and that was really nice too.
That's basically all that we did on the trip. It was basically more just learning about careers and colleges related to agriculture.
All right, so I am going to pass the mic around and have everybody introduce themselves, just in case if you don't know any of them. So,
I'm Cole Schleter, I'm the Vice President.
I'm Anna Hoftag, I'm the Secretary.
I'm Nicholas Johnson, I'm the Sentinel.
I'm Ryan Brand, I'm the historian.
all right, so our big fundraiser that we're doing this year is our fruit sales, and I believe that we sold close to $8,000 this year, which will help us out tremendously with we're planning a senior trip, so that will help us fund bus rides to the competitions and help out our seniors that have been in the program and that are graduating and leaving. So currently we have 43 members. We have a 10-member officer team, and to be on the officer team, we had an interview process with the FFA board. Every spring, new officers are voted in and assumed into their position. And at the end of the year, we put on a program for that.
Okay, that's all from FFA.
Is it? Thank you.
Are you the president, Zach?
Yes, I'm.
Oh, that's what I was wondering who the president was too.
So do you have any questions about that, or?
Is this kind of like going to be what you do each year? Is that the plan? Like kind of how you lay it out? Obviously some variations, but go to the competitions, go to nationals.
So at the beginning of each year, we have a big officer meeting with the officers that were selected from that spring, and I think ours was in August.
Each year we just kind of add new things that we do. So we've been gradually adding like the fall trip, the spring trip, just to get more kids involved. Last year we had around 20 FFA members, so we increased by 14 this year. So we are on a good direction to keep moving forward and adding. COVID, we definitely took a hit with trying to get kids involved because everything was virtual. So kids are definitely involved now. 7th through 11th grade FFA members are required to compete in an FFA contest. Seniors I'm a little flexible with just because they have a lot going on. But all our events are career-based so that they get to kind of get exposure to all those different careers within the agriculture, food, and natural resources systems. But yeah, we're gradually adding more as we go and hopefully keep gradually adding more members to our chapter.
Is the convention always in Indianapolis, or does it move around?
It is always in Indianapolis. When I was in FFA, it was in Louisville, but now it's kind of just in Indianapolis every year.
And do they go to some of these things during school? like during the week, so they kind of.
Yeah, so our region, so there's 8 regions in Minnesota for FFA based on where you are located. There are contests once a month based on different aspects. So next month we are doing wildlife. January will be egg sales and egg mechanics. And then March we'll have a small animals team. And then March as well we'll have a floriculture team. So there's kind of all these different aspects that kids can get involved in. There's even FFA band and choir and talent. So there's kind of everything for everyone in FFA.
When do you meet and how often?
So we meet once a month after school. So after all the sports are done, we are having our FFA meetings just so we can get everyone involved. There's always food because kids love eating. So that's my one big thing of getting kids involved in FFA meetings is having food. We try to pick themes. Last month was our movie night. December is our bingo night. So just trying to get kids involved with different themes and a lot of food.
Very good. Nice, thank you. Yeah, any other questions? Well, great job, you all. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. You're more than welcome to stay, but you can leave if you'd like to. All right, 6C, Superintendent Report.
For me, I've kind of had an unusual last couple days. I've been the substitute nurse all along, so I just take my computer and work out of the nurse's office and do my meetings from there when I can. Just trying to fill in, as we do have a long-term sub that's here until Laura comes back mid-December. However, she had a couple obligations to fulfill last Friday and today. So, kind of nice to be out with the kids and seeing the kids in a different aspect. Also, I do get quite a bit done when I'm down there because I'm not as interrupted as I am when I'm in my office. Question about that. Is there a way like we could do subs for the nurse?
Yeah, we do. We set it up so there are subs. But we just, if we can't fill them, somebody needs to be down there.
Like some nurses are off some days, you know.
Mhm.
We don't have like actual nurses come in. It's just whoever can fill the position, or is there?
We have had actual nurses come in, so. But I've been trained by Laura, and Sharon Miller, who was filling in for us as a nurse, was trained by Laura, and now our new one has been trained by Laura, so. Then some other stuff is elementary is starting their targeted services, and this is a program for kids that need additional help in reading and math. So that program will be starting after Thanksgiving. And then we're using digital passes in the high school, or we're working up to using digital passes in the high school. And we're going to be starting to use them in 4th through 6th grade also. So the kids fill out their pass on the Chromebook, and then the teacher approves it. They go do what they need to do, and then they come back. So the teacher, we know how long they're gone, where they went to, and when they come back. So in the high school, we have new clubs starting. With it being second quarter of the school year, there are a number of new clubs starting. So the one change they made with the clubs is, are they on even or odd days, Zach?
I'm not sure. I'm not here during advisory. So
Okay,
I wouldn't
so
know.
they're either all on even days or all on odd days. I don't remember which one it is. So rather than it being Tuesday, Thursday, because that was messing up the attendance during the week, they've switched it so it's every other day. And that seems to be a nice change. Both principals have started doing their formal observations for the year. We are looking at, and we'll be working with the teachers union to change the evaluation system that we've used in the past. We want to get, there's more effective and efficient ways to do their evaluations. And we want to look at a couple different systems for that. The chiller is finally on the roof, and they were running wire for it today. it is hooked, the glycol lines are hooked up to it, so that'll be ready to go once spring hits and warmer weather hits. We met with Hobart today, who is, we're working with them to get some pricing on 2 new dishwashers for the cafeteria, just to make that process a little bit faster. One would be a pots and pans that would go in the kitchen. The other one would be a conveyor system that would go into the dishwashing rack. Right now, if we have somebody in there constantly, we can wash about 30 racks an hour. With this new system, we'd be able to wash up to 200 racks an hour, so it's a lot faster system for us. And that, the dishwasher stuff would come out of our fund balance that we have in our, for food service, so we need to spend that down. Paul will be out Paul was out Thursday and Friday of last week. They had a baby boy, so he'll be back again on Monday. And then I'll be taking Wednesday off to go look at some memory care housing for my mom and spend some time with my wife and kids. Any questions for me?
Is that dishwasher stuff, the stuff that we talked about 2-3 meetings ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they gave us a bid and we looked at it and said, we're confused, because they made it sound like in the dishwashing room, they would be taking all of the stainless steel out and bringing all new back in. And we said there shouldn't be reason for that. So we had actually the person come in from Hobart today, and we went through it, and she said, no, we'd cut the counter here, re-weld it, put the new machine here, and it would be good to go. So
Okay.
it was nice to have them come right into the building and explain it to us. We did have Taher, the food director from Taher, Stacy, one of his higher ups, and another chef there from Taher today, looking at it so we could get their opinions. Since we're not in that food service business, we didn't know what they would need.
How has Tahoe been doing lately?
They have their goods and bads, but I've heard more positives lately. I had lunch the other day. It was chicken wild rice soup and some other stuff. I thought it was really good. The kids, I heard a number of kids say that they really liked it. So.
I only had one complaint from my son. He said he got a piece of chicken like that big and the bun was about that big. So it was more bun than chicken, so. Just curious. I don't hear much out of them often.
And there is a lettuce shortage, if you haven't heard. So they're trying to substitute different kinds of lettuce if they can get it, or they're using different salads. I know they had potato salad and coleslaw out the other day, so.
And they're fully staffed? Or are we still looking?
They're fully staffed 4 days a week.
Okay.
Fridays, they're short one person yet. So we do the plastic trays Monday through Thursday. Fridays, we still do styrofoam, but they're still working on finding that additional person.
So you're looking for a person that'll just come in on Fridays then? Is that?
I think they're looking for somebody that will be able to come in like part-time Monday through Thursday and then more on Fridays to help with that. Their work schedule is different because they have somebody that comes in Mondays and Thursdays, I think it is, and then somebody else comes in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so their schedules are different. The other thing I have on here is we had the region come in and do an audit on our business office workflow. And they were in the beginning of October, and then they sent us their results and their recommendations on Friday. I think we got these, or late Thursday. So I read through them once. Their recommendations seem to make sense. With what I can see, I have not had time to go through this with Matt and Wendy at this point, so. Wendy, did you have anything to say about the audit?
Now, I noticed at the end it had a comparison to other, so do we consider our business office just you and Matt, just two FTEs? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Nancy does some limited stuff too, that's kind of mentioned in there, like the accounts receivable, Nancy kind of works with that a little bit. So, a sliver of Nancy and me and Matt are kind of what they've listed out there.
And you guys do all that, do you do more than what they have listed there?
I do, probably a little more. Matt maybe does too. I suppose food service director isn't really on there. Yeah, I'm not sure what business manager, what that all encompasses, depends on the district. So
Right.
it's kind of hard to get a true apples to apples.
Right.
So any questions from my report?
Does that, oh, go ahead.
You were talking about something related to this, go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering, does that go down with what we talk about later
No.
then? Okay, so what are your thoughts with this report then, that you,
I want more time to go through it to see what,
okay,
to really sit down with Matt, Wendy, and talk about the their recommendations to see if they're realistic for us to be able to do it in a district our size, and how it can help with our workflow. I did, one thing in there is as a school district, we order a ton of stuff from Amazon, and all Amazon orders go through Joyce right now, whereas Amazon is part of the system, so it's teaching the teachers how to access Amazon within the smart system. So it would help free up some of those types of things. So there's nothing real major that I saw in there. It's just those little things that could help free up some time for others.
School has an account, right, not like Joyce, and you just reimburse it.
Right. The school has an account.
Is it set up to do through Amazon Smile, and can the school get part of the donations back?
I don't know. That's a great question. I'll have to ask. I don't know if we can, since we're a tax exempt
Right.
business account though.
Or is there a community group or something that can benefit from it? I don't know.
FFA.
Right, right,
Sports.
right. I don't know how that all works, for sure, but.
Right. Oh, I'll check on it.
yeah, they seemed impressed by the work that you guys do and how willing you are to take on all the duties that you have and stuff, so thank you for that. It was good to see that. I already knew that, but it's nice when other people say it too. Okay, so you just take some time to look through it and.
Yep.
Okay, I
Like I
didn't know.
said, we received it late last week, so
Okay, I didn't know if you were looking for anything from us at all, or,
not at this time, just
Okay.
knowing that we have that information.
okay. All right, any other questions?
One of the first winter sports events.
Next Tuesday is our first girls' game.
Did they get, speaking about just that, because did they get the new scoreboard lights and the
Yep.
bulbs that were burnt out fixed and
Yep.
stuff? Okay,
The
good.
horn is
Horn
loud.
needs to be adjusted.
So
It's
It's
way loud.
so-
I did hear that a
Oh,
couple
yeah,
times
it's
this
Oh,
weekend.
really?
This weekend was so bad, people were complaining left and right.
Yeah.
Tell them to put some earplugs in.
I think we can
beyond
adjust
that.
it right on the panel.
Was that bad? Well,
It was loud.
Yeah, I heard people either loved it or they hated it. There was no really in between.
There's no missing it. I'll tell you that.
So, I wonder if when they put they had to put a new panel in, and it may have had something to do with the horn, so I wonder if when they did that, but I'm almost positive there's a way to adjust the volume on the panel that we use, so.
any other questions for Jeremy? All right, we'll go on to D, budget information. Do you just wanna talk about the,
Oh, hold
both of
on.
them together, or did I
World's
miss
Best-
something?
World's Best Workforce Committee meeting. We had that after our study session.
Do I not have an updated? Maybe I have to go out
We're
and,
D.
I must
Yeah,
have to go
we-
back
we
out and go
moved to
back
E.
in. Mine wasn't, mine must have got updated since I had it open
My D
earlier.
is the budget and E is the world's best
E's the
workforce.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, never mind. I was.
Oh,
I
okay,
was one down
okay,
farther.
okay, so I was right, okay, yeah, budget information then, enrollment update. and-
Enrollment is staying pretty consistent. We did drop a couple students, but we know that we have a very fluid enrollment and transient population that moves around a lot. But we're still 30, or just about 30 students over what we budgeted. The one thing we are looking into is the way Matt pulls the ADM from Infinite Campus, and where Joyce and Janice get their numbers from Infinite Campus isn't quite matching up. There's a little bit of a discrepancy. So Matt's working with the secretaries and Infinite Campus to figure out why there's that discrepancy in those two numbers. So Matt's numbers are higher than this, so this would be a more conservative number for us.
Any questions on that?
Historic cash balance is remaining the same, so.
Any questions on either one of those? All right, committee report, World's Best Workforce Committee meeting, I guess I didn't. We just talked about the graphs that they have for the World's Best Workforce and going over what we wanted to see at in future meetings and stuff, so that's kind of what Jeremy's gonna
Right.
take forward and work on.
So I've updated the current graphs that we have. Now I'm working on seeing if we can add the ACT scores and getting trend data on ACT scores, seeing if we can do any correlations between grades in class and test scores, and then looking into ACT or MCA prep work. So that report will come out next month.
Any questions? Or anything from Kendra or Katie on that we missed? All right, if not, we'll move to the approval of the consent agenda. As always, you're more than welcome to pull anything out. Does anybody have any clarifying questions?
Where are we at for staffing? Do we have any openings?
The only position we do not have filled at this time is our family service coordinator is a grant that we get from Waseca County through Southern Minnesota, or South Central Human Services out of Owatonna. They've had a couple applicants, and then when the applicants find out salary and what they're offering, they tend to back out of wanting that position. So there were 3 positions open at the beginning of the school year, one for us, one for New Richland, one for Waseca. Waseca's the only one that's gotten theirs filled so far.
Who was
Is it
our
a-
previous?
Heather Winter was
That's
our
what I thought,
previous.
okay.
Is it something that can be shared with another district?
I don't know if it would be with the grant or not. Because this, as a school district, we pay about $12,000 for that service. I think it's just a struggle to find anybody that will do that work for what they're offering as a salary and benefits to them.
If they could do something with like the colleges or something like that for like an internship.
Yeah, I can ask Lori Strunk. She's a professor at MSU that works with the different therapists. She's a school psych. I can ask her. She normally has, she has school psych interns, but I can ask and see if she knows anything about some therapist internship possibilities.
That's a good idea. other questions? The only one I had was, I noticed there was WEX on the expenditures. What is that? What is it?
WEX is our VIBA and health savings account system.
Okay, I just noticed it's been on there a lot, and I just didn't know what it was,
Mhm.
so. Is it new, or has it always been there?
It's new with Medica and.
Oh, okay, I was
Yep,
like,
and the co-op.
I thought, did I just miss this? But, okay. Cool.
I can't remember the old, what was the old?
It
term?
was further, and
Oh, okay, I remember
wouldn't
that
support
then,
our
yeah.
VIBA accounts any longer, so we had to find a whole new vendor to take everything.
Okay. Got it. All right. I guess if there aren't any other questions, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Sherry Dashner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Old business, approval of policies with substantial changes. We have to do these all one by one, don't we?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Are there any,
The only one I wanna discuss is 902.
okay, I was gonna say, do we wanna have any questions first before we go through the list? All right, go ahead and, if you wanna talk about it.
902, we've spent a lot of time on policy 902. This is very similar to the Waseca School District's policy. And it's a great policy. I think it's well-written and easy to read. The bigger part of this policy is the guidelines that go with it. And I showed you a pamphlet a while back, and working through this with Wendy and Andrea and Paul, we decided that we can do a pamphlet, however, there's a lot of information in it. So, and it looks better on our website if we have individual pages. So, it is a 4-page document that goes through, and it has everything we can think of on it. I spent a little bit of time this morning talking through it also with the Youth Basketball Association. I talked with Joni Olson about it this morning. Her and I were playing phone tag last week as we were going through it. And then later this afternoon, we got some clarification from Taher about, because we did have some questions about people using the kitchen and what their licensure or certification needed to be in order to use the kitchen. So we got some clarification from them at that this afternoon that Wendy was able to get put in here also. So I want to thank Wendy for all of her hard work on this and getting it formatted and put together so it fits together. An additional thing that we did add today was for scheduling events in the fall, it doesn't open up to the public until July 1st. Scheduling in the winter doesn't open until October 1st, and so on for all 4 seasons. The reason we did this is to give the school, sports teams and community ed programs an opportunity to get all of their stuff scheduled before we open it up to everybody. We are going to be using a new program called Facility Scheduler that will help invoice and do all of the legwork for us through a computer program. So I'm excited to see this finally come to fruition. We've been working on this for a long time.
A while back, there was a lot of discussions with the health inspector about bringing food in for like sports teams gatherings, like potlucks and group selling food that's coming from homes. Is that still?
Well, with this new policy, it's not allowed. Has to be from a certified kitchen or somebody with at least a cottage license. So,
Is this the policy we're approving tonight, but it doesn't take an effect until?
January 1st.
January 1st?
Yep, so this policy we approve tonight and it takes effect January 1st.
Can you do like bake sales?
Nope.
Not unless it comes from an approved.
Nope.
So is that only for the people that are renting the facility, or
the FFA group that wants to have a potluck?
No, they can't.
Okay.
It's everybody, because anything that comes into the school falls under
Right.
the school license.
Right, I just wanted to
So
make
if
sure.
somebody were to get sick,
Mhm.
then it falls back on the school, even though they didn't provide the food, so.
How does that work with kids bringing their lunch from home?
They're eating their own food, it's not somebody
it's not
else,
being
prepared by
They're not
somebody else.
serving it to.
I know that's a big part of the, some of the youth sports.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, they had a lot of donated bars and everything, so, I did talk with Joni about that today too, of, in the future, it needs all to be prepackaged or out of a certified kitchen.
That wasn't supposed to be happening from when the Waseca County came when I was a youth wrestling and told us we couldn't do
No, that
that,
was
and that
like,
was
yeah,
15
3-4
years
years
ago.
Yeah, we haven't, not supposed to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of schools that do.
Oh, there is a ton, yeah, I know. But,
The judge and jury on that.
well, if somebody
Or
The health
files a
inspector.
complaint.
Mhm.
Yep.
But if it's like weekend staff, is one of the custodians responsible for if somebody brings it in?
Telling them no, they can't.
Yeah.
Oh, to stop them, you mean?
Yeah.
Police it.
Oh,
Well, it'd
the
be
police,
whoever's
yeah.
putting the thing on, if
Yeah.
they allow it in, it's their responsibility, then we don't approve them to come back in again.
Right, because they're not following the rules.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, we go to stuff all the time that you see other schools that they bring it in, but I know that Sarah Berry specifically sent a letter over to us when we had our stuff, and I was like, well, so-and-so, well, not our county,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so.
Yeah, from what the, Taher told us today, best thing you could do is, if it looks like home baked goods, is to have their cottage license or a copy of their license, so you have proof that it did come from there.
The one thing I was looking at here is the priority for use of facilities, and maybe I'm just not reading it correctly, but school, and then it has events sponsored by the cities of Janesville, Waldorf, and Pemberton. Then the third is the Pemberton-based service organizations, charitable, not-for-profit, non-school youth, or, so where is the school youth programs, where do they fall in this priority?
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
that?
you're looking at,
Yeah, in the policy, sorry, yeah.
sorry. I
I'm
was
looking at the policy, yeah. Because I'm thinking,
12.
yeah, this is like 7 priority use of the facilities, A, B, C, D, E, and it's going down to like 6, 7, or F, A, G, whatever. And I didn't see where the youth group, like school youth group, like basketball or volleyball or wrestling or football, I don't see them, what their priority is in here. Are they above the city, the cities, which I think they should be?
They would be the one right after, because it'd be the non-school youth organizations, so they'd be C.
Okay. So I guess my question would be is I would think that since they are our youth, they are pretty much our schools, you know, our kids going to our school, that they should be a higher up on priority than, I'm just gonna use, because the only one I really think of is Heydays for the not Heydays, but Hee-Haw, sorry, yeah. You know, that our students, because most of these 95 to 100% of these kids are gonna be our students, should have a higher priority than the city putting on a fundraiser, whether it's Janesville, Waldorf, or Pemberton. That's just my thoughts on it.
And this is what Waseca had in their order.
Yeah, similar to what, yeah, this was same order Waseca had, but that doesn't mean that
No.
that's right. I think
Right.
Tim makes a
I was
legitimate
just,
point
yeah,
there too.
yep, I was
What
just
events
curious.
are sponsored by the city of Janesville, Waldorf, or Pemberton? Because Heydays is chamber. I don't know what is Hee-Haw? Yeah, that's, wouldn't be the city of Janesville, would it? So I'm not really sure what
Good.
What is
events.
Who sponsors Hee-Haw?
I think they're just kind of their
It's
own
just
group.
their own organization, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Hee-Haw.
And it's a it's not a registered
The only thing
nonprofit.
would be is the, like, voting or something like that I could see as a city thing that, right? Because they used to do the
Yeah.
voting here.
Now
but-
they actually have
yeah.
probably two places they could probably do it, you know, with St. Anne's now and
Yeah.
the
Which makes
Trinity
sense, 'cause then
displays.
they're not- we're not
Disrupting
bringing people in the
school.
school building.
Yeah,
Right.
that was the only
Yeah.
thing I could think of, though, that the city would, any of the,
I guess I think, you know, for me, I'd rather
Yeah.
move the C
yeah.
up to B and B down to C.
So flip-flop B and
Yeah.
C?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm okay with that.
Just, and again, that's just my thoughts.
Mhm, makes sense.
yeah.
And cities be CITIES too.
Yeah.
Then the only other question I have is, when we go down to the facility personnel and equipment use fees, and then there's supposed to be a link to the use guidelines. But
Where are you at on that? Are you
it's,
on?
Are you
what
on
is
the
that, 9?
guidelines or the
I'm
policy?
Policy.
No, I'm sorry, I'm on the policy
Okay.
again,
Okay,
sorry. 9 in the policy.
Yes, we'll put that link in there.
Yeah. So, but with that, so how does and I'm just gonna use the kitchen because it's the top one, how does a person become a ServSafe certified worker? You know, because the food service director must train them. So when are they gonna train them, and do they have to get paid to get trained? Because are we gonna have to pay the food service person their time to train this person?
There's actually classes you have to take, though.
Yeah.
Right, but
It's
that's not what this is
That's
saying.
not what this is
Yeah.
saying.
No, what this is saying is, like Kendra, who is ServSafe certified, if she comes in, then the Tahoe rep would show her how to work their equipment. That's consistent of the training that it says in that paragraph.
But what I'm saying though is that Tahoe rep gonna be showing her this on our time? Or do we have to do it outside of school time, and then does that organization have to pay to get trained?
So they're gonna pay the Tahoe employee to
Yeah.
do the training, basically, right?
Yeah, and I'm just asking the question because, you know, all of a sudden, you know, are you gonna have 5 people get trained on it, and then you have 5 different times? And
In my mind, it's maybe 15 minutes.
Well, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just asking, so I mean,
Because the ServSafe person already knows the basics. So it's just how to turn on and off the oven, where the vents are, type thing.
You add something like during regular school hours at the end of that, prior to the event.
and it may not be a big deal. I was just reading through it and just wondering.
That's a good question.
No, I think it's a great question, and this is something that was changed on there also from recommendation from Taher. So,
So they suggested it?
they suggested, it, yes, that the person be trained. ServSafe certified, and when thinking about this, I was thinking about district employees that are ServSafe certified. Because we have our, Mary White in Family Consumer Science is ServSafe certified. Matt Molina is ServSafe certified. And then all of the 3 adults that work in the, life skills downstairs are all ServSafe certified, plus all of the Taher employees. So that gives us a range of, and what?
Is Jody too?
Jody's part of the life
Oh,
skills.
yeah, okay.
That gives us a number of people within our district that we can get trained by the food service director.
So they'd be around to, during school day.
Yes.
Right, I mean, that was kind of the idea, that they
They're-
already are in our kitchen and already know how to use our kitchen.
Right,
And that those would be the first people that we would hire
yep.
on the 1 or 2 times somebody has requested a kitchen.
Typically, it's only, from my knowledge, it's only been requested for the youth basketball tournament. Everything else is done without our kitchen.
So then we would have to have, I'm just looking like now the concession stand, because, you know, you go down to the football games with the pizza ovens and the hot dog machine. So you'd have to have a list of safe serve, the school would, and somebody from that list has to be in that concession stand every time. Up here, if they do the pizza in this concession stand too, it just couldn't be a student.
Right.
Which I see a lot of times, it's just students in there.
If Jody's not in there, she stepped out for,
She's always around.
yeah.
Or
she's
supplies or bathroom.
grabbed more pizzas out of the freezer or
Okay.
did something, but she's not gone for hours on end. It was
No.
just stepped out to do this and, but yeah.
Yeah, okay,
It's
so,
just
but we
checking
would have to have a
temperatures.
list and.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing that with a district-approved Serve Safe certified worker, what stops them from bringing their own in and having us approve if we verify their certificate and then say, I mean, can they do that? Or is it strictly just a district employee that's Serve Safe certified can be in there? Because
Okay, I would say it should be a district employee, and the reason is because if they were in our kitchen working and they got hurt, then we're gonna be liable for them. Where if it's a district employee, they should be clocking in, so if they were to get hurt, they're covered under our work comp.
But do these outside groups have to have their own insurance and without any cover that liability?
They do have to have the outside insurance. It would be a liability insurance they have.
Because I would think take out district approved and put district employee, because otherwise you're gonna get,
A district Serve Safe certified employee?
yep. Because if it just says district approved, they're gonna try and bring somebody in with a certificate and have you approve them, so that they don't have to pay them, you know, and then they don't have to pay the fee.
People aren't our employees technically.
True.
So then can it be worded to encompass all of them? I don't know how they're
You could just say
classified.
district employee or Taher employees.
So have we been running it that way for the concessions down the football field?
Would you word it as like JWP facility certified? That way it doesn't matter district or not, or Tahoe?
Wait, we just don't have to approve it.
I was gonna say, in the end,
Yeah,
you're
we-
approving it or not
Yeah,
approving
everyone can
it, so.
Yeah.
do this, but
Would you ever bring somebody from
Right.
the
Well,
outside,
and
then
then
you
that
wanna
brings
leave it
another
open to
thing
be
in
approved?
to it is,
I'm technically.
does a background check need to be done on every one of those that come in to be approved? Because it should, they're gonna be around kids, students. Correct? Because we have to do a background check on volunteer coaches.
Well, that's why
and-
it's employees only, so we wouldn't have to do that.
Well, but this one right here doesn't say employee. Concession
that's-
stand, a district-approved, safe,
That's what we're,
certified
Right,
worker.
that's what we're debating,
Yeah.
is how to change that, so
Yeah.
it's only employees.
So a
'Cause like-
district Serve Safe certified employee must be on duty when operating, when the operation of the pizza ovens or hot dog machine are in use.
Is this even feasible? I mean, when
I
it comes
know.
football season next year, are you gonna be able to find somebody? I mean,
I think if you have, give them enough notice, you
Yeah.
just, you have to, you know.
It doesn't, doing the Serve Safe certification doesn't take much.
Well, yeah, you could have people
8
take
hours.
it, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
and keeping it up every 3 years.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying, I mean, are you gonna be able to find a district employee to come in on a Friday night to work it?
Versus somebody else that is serve safe.
Possibly, yeah.
Like my dad. You know, my dad in there.
Because the reason I was bringing this up is because if you look at the kitchen, which I think you would need a district employee in there, it just says a district-approved, safe certified worker. It doesn't say employee like it does down for the auditorium. A
Right.
trained district media technology employee.
That's what we're trying to put in there, but if you say employee, Taher's not really our district employees either, so you have to, that's why I would just say district or Taher employee.
And then you'd have to add, like you said, you'd have to add that to the concession stand
Concession.
one then too.
Yeah, you'd add the same wording to both of
Mhm.
them. Well, then I think if we worded it that way, if it's
Kitchen staff employee?
the district safe certified employee or Taher employee, or Taher worker, then if we don't have Taher, we're still covered and don't have to go back in and
Mhm.
change everything.
Unless we contract with some other company.
Correct.
Yeah.
Still not our.
Right.
But you
Well,
can
could
always update it
Yeah.
then.
But you can, would you just take Taher out of it, say our food contract service person?
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
good way
There
to
you
use
go.
it. Yeah,
Mhm.
yep, I like that.
Doesn't matter how much you think you've worked on this or had it.
I know.
it's still-
Well, now my question is, do we need to,
It's not taking effect until January 1st, so if we need to wait and approve it
at a next meeting?
at our next meeting, we can do that
Okay.
with this one policy.
And I'm looking at the policy here again, and I saw it earlier, but there was, no, I can't find, it was to do with the insurance, where I thought it said may be required. And I always thought that they had to have that insurance certificate in before you could even have any of the activities. Where was that at again? Well, I mean, I can look for that again, we can look at, we don't need to, if it's, because I think that should be.
Yeah. On, V1, I don't know my number.
5.
6. Rules for use of facilities and equipment. Last sentence, a certificate of insurance may be required by the school district.
So it should say will be.
Is.
And I don't know, it should be in the hands before they even have any activities.
Yes, with the with the facility scheduler, they upload it right to that before they submit their
Okay.
request. Okay. So we'll make those changes.
Anything else? All right, we will begin. Do we have a motion for policy 208?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 208.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
That's Tim Johnson. Any further discussion? Not. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Do we have a motion for policy 209?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 209.
That's Tim Melky. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Kendra Hain. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Do we have a motion for policy 210?
I'll make a motion for to approve policy 210.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Melky. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Am I going too fast for you, Wendy? Okay. Policy 410, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 410.
That's Tim Johnson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Kendra Hain. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Policy 415, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 415.
That's Tim Melky. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Burke. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Policy 416, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 416.
That's Tim Johnson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Burke. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Policy 417, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 417.
That's Tim Melky. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Kendra Hain. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Policy 418, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 418.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
That's Tim Johnson. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. So policy 902, we will move indefinitely or something. I don't think it's table, but whatever. We will move it to the next meeting. Okay, so B, approval of policies with non-substantial changes. Okay, so these we will approve tonight too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
these are policies that they made
Just the minor.
minor changes to with a word here or there. It did
Okay.
not change the meaning of the policy.
All right, any questions before we begin? All right. Policy 420, do we have a motion?
I'll make approval for policy 420.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'll give that to Katie.
Okay.
That was me and Sherry.
Oh, Sherry, I missed it. Second by Sherry Dashner. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Policy 423, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 423.
That's Tim Johnson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Burke. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Policy 506, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for policy 506.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And that's Kendra Hain. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Policy 508, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 508.
That's Tim Melky. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
That's Tim Johnson. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Policy 509, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 509.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And that's Kendra Hain. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. And then policy 525, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 525.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Give that to Sherry again. Sherry Dashner, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Whew. All right. C, approval of the JWP continuing education bylaws. Do you wanna-
Yeah, we have to submit our bylaws for continuing education, so the state gives each school district the authority to put continuing education credits in for teachers and administrators every year. We're supposed to submit our guidelines for the continuing education committee or bylaws for them every 5 years. However, like I've said, we have not submitted them since I've been on the committee. I don't think it's any fault of ours, but I did contact the state and asked for a copy of the last ones we submitted, and they did not have a copy of them. She just emailed me back saying, no, we don't have a copy of them. You need to submit new ones and send them to us with your roster of who's on that committee. Before they'll give us the authority to put that information in the state system. So what I've done is I went on to pulled Mankato's and made changes to it that follow our committees, the way we do stuff here at JWP. So I can get these submitted to the state in order for our school district to have something to follow from here on out and be in compliance with the state and to be able to submit that information and put those credits in for the teachers.
Who's on the committee?
Mary McDonald, Mike Skinner, myself, Kara Leiferman, and then we have 2 new members. I can't remember who. And then we have to have somebody from the community, so they recommend a school board member to be on there. So I was gonna see if there's a school board member that would like to be on that. We meet 4 times a year, and it's a pretty quick and easy meeting, so it's just, yeah, it can't be a school employee, so I said, school board member. They said technically they can be on there, even though they're part of the school board, so. If we have anybody from the school board that would like to be on there, that would be great. If not, I will do some searching for somebody that's not part of the school district.
Do we want to bring that up at our organizational meeting in January with the new school board members? Because that's when we're gonna redo all of our stuff anyway.
We can.
You can
I'll-
put my name on it now if you need to.
Okay, that would work. I'll just put your name on it now, and then in the
Oh, you-
future.
oh, that's
I
right, you
need
do
somebody to
need
submit
something.
now,
Right.
but then I
Oh,
can
yeah.
change it in January.
Okay.
I can make that change.
Way to step up, Kendra.
Probably got a meeting next month.
I know.
Nope, they got 3 in December.
Since we just put these together, we have
just
to
don't
get
know
our
if
4
there's
meetings in by the end of the year.
And I can't do it because I also separate.
Right, right.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Kendra,
mean, if
you're
you
it.
want, if you want.
You're not planning a meeting in December, are you?
4 of them.
All 4 meetings, every Friday, no, Monday.
Yeah,
Me every
yeah,
day
Monday
off.
of my day, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So then
Any-
we just need, I just need approval of these guidelines or bylaws for us to send them off to the state tomorrow.
Any other questions? All right, if not, do we have a motion to approve the JWP continuing education bylaws?
I'll make a motion to approve.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Elke. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
Or can you go back to the housing and to a motion?
Motion to postpone indefinitely? Is it indefinitely?
Either one, definitely, if you want to do it next meeting, indefinitely.
Do whatever.
Well, would it be,
Well, let's do-
next meeting is a study session.
Yeah, so let's do indefinitely then, so, Okay, do we have a motion for policy 902?
I'll make a motion to suspend indefinitely policy 902.
Okay, that's Tim Melky. Do we have a second?
A second.
That's Tim Burke. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, thank you, Wendy. Where were we? 9, new business. 9A, approve Jessica Elke as the head speech coach. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Jessica Elke as the head speech coach.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
That's Tim Johnson. Any further discussion?
I'll abstain from voting. I would have voted no anyways, but. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Okay. All right, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6 with one abstention. All right, B, approve resolution supporting Form A application to MSHSL Foundation.
So this is something that Paul submitted already to the state. We just have to approve it as a board, and it gives, what it does is it helps offset some scholarship costs for students that maybe don't have the money to pay to be in MHSHL activities, so this helps offset their cost. This is an annual thing that we typically do.
Any questions? All right, if not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Sherry Dashner. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay.
Isn't this a
Oh,
vote because it's a
resolution, yep,
resolution?
yep, sorry. Thank you.
Dashner,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Elke,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Size.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. All right, 9C, approve growth operators human resources contract work proposal.
Okay, this is something that, again, Wendy, Matt, and I have been working on, is, we've been putting feelers out there to find out, is there an organization out there that could help us out with looking at a number of different things, human resources being one of them. The second thing is job description review and benchmarking. And the third thing is a comparable work study. It does come at a hefty bill. The human resources assessment is right around $6,000. They look at 6 different areas and give suggestions to the school district on how we can move forward or what we can make improvements for it. The areas are organizational design, employment, engagement, training and development, benefits and compensation, recruiting and staffing, HRIS, payroll and compliance. So this is something this group would do. That portion of it is about $6,000. There, if you, they give us sample report in here also, if that's something you want to look at. And it's all time sensitive, so if it doesn't take as long as they're estimating, it won't cost that $6,000. The second area is job description review and benchmarking. So what this would be is they would be looking at our job descriptions, right around 20 job descriptions, maybe a few more, and then benchmarking and doing some comparing within the school itself. We have not done this since, I think it was 2014 was the last time it was done. And we've added a number of jobs and changed a number of jobs since then. So it would be something good to go through. It's also actually been requested by our teachers union to look at job descriptions and roles and responsibilities for staff members. So they're supporting this as well. And then, that would be anywhere from $6,600 to, $9,000, or $8,900, depending on how long they take. Some of the job descriptions may not take very long because there hasn't been a lot of change. Others, may take a little bit longer. Then the final one is a comparable work study, and this would start, this would be the whole gamut. They'd be looking at our school district, compare them to other school districts our size. Where do they belong on the state scale? We have to submit every 3 years to the state. It would do an internal equality assessment and then also external with schools similar to our, or schools similar in size to our school district. So as we look through everything, total investment overall is gonna be anywhere from $19,000 to $27,000 to do this work. This work would be completed by the end of March. So we would have all of this information going into negotiations next spring.
Is it possible if it takes longer, do we owe more, or are they saying that's the max that we would have to pay?
The $27,200.
Yeah.
That's their estimate of what it would take if it, the max it would take them to do this work.
So it is possible that it could go more?
It
if
is
takes-
possible, but not likely.
Okay.
Do
I'm
you
ass-
have to do it all, or can you just do?
We don't have to do it all. When we first talked or met with them, they mentioned doing a, what do they call it? A mini assessment for the human resources assessment. So it would cost about $3,000 rather than $6,000. But I think if we're gonna do it right, we wanna, look at all of our areas.
The union is requesting to have some of this done, are they willing to pay for some of it?
No.
Good question.
It is a great question.
Well, I mean,
What's the first one? Just kind of broken down. I'm not sure I understand what the human resource assessment would be.
I'm just gonna go into a report.
This is organizational design, employee engagement.
Right.
This is just administration.
It's looking at our whole organization, like a flow chart of, okay, here's your superintendent, here's how they flow, under who's, and, how the whole organization lays out. So high school principals here, elementary principals here,
Okay.
who's under them, and laying everything out.
And what's the training? What would training and development be in that?
Would that be more HR stuff to,
Probably more for your employees, I would think. Like what development opportunities they have.
I can't read it, it's too small.
Your cheaters on.
I have one tel. So aligning on the talent review, a review tool that they use, and then building capabilities of managers and managing employee performance, building criteria and tools into the performance management and candidate assessment process to assess for business and industry knowledge, complete leadership development needs assessment, supervised training needs analysis and implementation plan. So, and it goes on and on.
And so this is kind of a sample of what they would do for us and show us and kind of lay out. They said like phase one is like high priority things, like maybe a compliance issue, you know, that we're not doing something correctly, that we ought to fix right away. Phase two is kind of, you should probably get on this. Phase four is like, well, this would be nice if you get time kind of thing. And so they'd kind of lay out the things and show us how our weaknesses and strengths and kind of the different areas where we're weaker or stronger within that topic.
I'm assuming that these phases take time to complete. Do they help throughout that whole
Mhm.
time? Oh,
Yep.
So, okay. And without extra fees?
Oh, there's always extra
Okay,
fees
I was gonna
connected to
say.
it. This is just for the assessments and
Oh,
the upfront work. And then, they're always there as to go back to and ask for more input and give more ideas.
In the last couple of years, you guys didn't go through job descriptions and determine who does what and?
Hasn't been done in a number of years.
think
We
it
did
was-
a little bit with a couple positions. Buildings and grounds, we did a little bit. Wendy's position, we did some. And community ed director, grant writer, we did some.
And was
But-
that, I mean, just on your own, or did you pay somebody to do that, or?
That was a small portion of what Tom Lee set up for a comparable work study.
Kurt did some too, and then I think he had
But
more
we
on
didn't-
the docket until COVID hit, and then obviously priority shifted, if I remember correctly.
But we didn't pay a company to do it, okay.
We asked Baker Tilly, who does a lot of our work like this. They used to be Springstead, who originally did them in 2012. And then did some other ones in 2014 and 2016, if I remember right. We asked, Springstead is now Baker Tilly. We asked Baker Tilly to give us a quote for it, and they said they don't have any interest in working with us on it. We're not a big enough company for them to do this work. So, this company came to us from Justin Kruger, who's works for Gallagher, but he that's who does all of our bidding and work with us through our insurances.
So, back to the business office workflow, that's kind of why I asked if that was related to this at all. So if we have 2 FTEs, I'm assuming a lot of your work has to do with HR stuff. Would going through all this help in, like, us not maybe needing that 3rd FTE if we have all this?
If everything's aligned and everybody's on the same page and doing it, trained to do everything the same way, it should help it. I'm not gonna guarantee that it doesn't help it, but, 'cause right now, things are done so inconsistently that it's, tough to follow what's happening from one time to another.
Put more structure in place.
Yes, absolutely.
And help with different things like your performance management, making sure you're doing your check-ins, and then having the candidate, or the employee assessments to kind of compare it. I think it helps you grow as grow leaders and develop your staff, what you want to do versus here you have to go do one development,
Mhm.
a year. This actually puts it more onus on them, and you can validate it and evaluate, in my opinion.
What other school districts around us have used this group? Because, I mean, I've been out here a long time, and we've got people coming in all the time and we've used some of them, and it hasn't been worth even a tenth of what we paid them. And I've never heard of this group, and so I'm like apprehensive about spending $19,000 to $27,000 for stuff that the administration passed, whatever, should have been upkeeping the way it was. That's my concern is, if we would have been upkeeping this the way it should have been for the past, whatever, 10, 12, 15 years, we wouldn't be having to do this. So what other school districts around us have used this group that we can, besides just blindly going in and trusting what they're telling us, to go and contact them, and was it worth it? Did it really help?
Right. I don't have that information now. I'm willing to go out and get that information and talk to those schools and say, here, has it been great? What's worked well? What hasn't worked well?
Yeah.
And bring that information back.
Yeah, I'm just a little apprehensive because we have approved stuff in the past, and I don't think we've gotten our money worth on some of that stuff.
When were they wanting to get started? If
They'll get started as soon as we
Approve.
ask, or as soon as we let them know. So,
So I'm just wondering, like, if you want it done before negotiations, if we have to wait a month for our next meeting, will that be enough time?
what we could do is I could have that information at our study session if we wanted to approve it then it's a couple weeks rather than a full month.
Because the big thing for this would, for the negotiations would be the comparable worth,
Right.
right? So
That's
we
gonna
could
be-
always ask them to put that as the focus first,
Mhm.
if we decide to move ahead, right?
True.
Right,
That's
yep.
true. Good point. Yep, good point. Yeah. Yeah, I guess see what you can come up with. I mean, like you said, we can always approve it at our,
Right,
Study
typically we
session.
don't approve things at our study session, but if we know going in, this is coming,
yeah,
I can have that information for you.
yeah. Okay. Any other questions? All right, so do we need to postpone that indefinitely then too, I suppose, right? Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to suspend indefinitely.
That's Tim Burke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Elke. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Approve resolution accepting donations with many thanks. I'll read off the donors. Utility Consultants Incorporated donated $50 for the National Honor Society. Kids Count donated $139.08 to Community Ed. University of Minnesota donated $885 to aquaponics equipment for ag classes. And Min CEC DEC donated $603.88 to DEC mini grant. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the donations with much thanks.
That's Tim Elke. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That's Tim Burke, and that's a resolution. So Wendy?
Haynes,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Elke,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Dasher,
Yes.
Size.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. All right, upcoming meetings, November 21st. That's today.
That's today.
Yeah, I was like, that's weird. December 5th, study session, and then December 19th, the regular board meeting.
December 5th is followed by Truth and Taxation at 6 o'clock.
Yes, thank you. All right, and we are now adjourned at 6:53.
Are you thinking anything with like the carry
Yes.
Okay.
National-
Who's taking that on?
Social workers.
Okay.
And National Honor Society.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thanks, Zach.
Does it get stated that way or not?
Yeah,
Because you said 6-0.
well, it's
So what
It's
role
like-
that Heather
it's like
had, or
6.